DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11. With me is Spike Clay at Russell J. Clay. You just got out of the pool. I'm glad you just hopped off to do a quick pod so we can break down the Sunday slate. I'm grateful you could take that time away.
I had a hankering for some slates, and this is fulfilling my needs for now. So that's exciting. I am thankful for this opportunity, and I don't know. What do you say at a congratulatory speech type of deal? Do you thank? Should I name off people I should thank right now, or do we want to get into pitchers?
No, I think I think we should get into pitchers, but I think you just kind of you just one of those who you are type of deals,
Yeah, no, I know how I got here, and I'm thankful for all the people in my life that got me here. And so I mean, we're here now. They're not here. It's just me, but and I did all the work, and I didn't get any help from anybody. But I am here now, so anyway.
Are we ready to
continue?
Go here? Are we ready to go,
yeah, we're ready.
All right. Take a look at the 11-game slate here. The main one covers up until about 2:15, and breaking down pitchers. And you got some good names here, but you don't have a lot of price tags that are really too high. And kind of you have a range of guys that you can kind of go with really top to bottom.
Indeed. Julio Teheran is the highest priced pitcher, though, which kind of weirds me out. I don't know if that's a fair thing to do to him. You know what I mean? I'd much rather have him at 95 to 10K. I feel like I would be much more comfortable, and maybe not cash, but maybe sneaking into cash for me at that price. But this is expensive, so he's probably just tournaments for me, I think.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. A tournament play for me as well. He's pitched well this year. Unfortunately, I mean, going up against DeGrom, it's going to be a tough way to get a win.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, at that price tag, I mean, you're kind of looking at him as just kind of a swerve off of some of those top guys. I don't mind him, but I kind of do. I prefer DeGrom there, just at the same price tag.
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of railroaded this whole segment, but anyway. All right, we can get going now. Sorry.
With that being said, DeGrom, kind of one of the safer cash game guys. You're looking at this month. I mean, his strikeout rate, 36%. I mean, obviously that's unsustainable, but it's a nice bump from where he's been, before this month. And you're looking once again. I mean, Atlanta, poor offense, even though they've kind of hit well a little bit of late. DeGrom at home, just kind of one of your safer cash game options on the slate.
Definitely high floor. You obviously, I think everyone's worried and aware of Freddie Freeman at this point. He was kind of like a hibernating bear for a long time, where we knew he was good, but teams could basically just pitch around him. And I don't know why they're not still doing that, because every night it seems like, oh, Freddie Freeman has 3 hits and everyone else is just doing absolutely nothing. So I'll be interested to see how teams start pitching towards him going forward. But yeah, against DeGrom, that's a tough matchup for everyone. So I'm not too worried about Freeman in this matchup, and the rest of the lineup is less than stellar. Less than stellar, Yeah,
definitely. Next one, I mean, David Price, kind of an intriguing GPP option for me on today's slate, because I think you look at this offense as far as Seattle goes, a couple of right-handers that knock lefties, but they're kind of more middle of the league against left-handed as far as a whole goes. And you look at Price this month, I mean, in 3 starts, 27% strikeout rate, 2.74 ERA in the 3 starts this year, in this month. So he's kind of turned things around here. He's a decent favorite. Not a cash game guy for me, but I do like him in GPPs because he has that big strikeout upside.
The lefty verse sort of righty thing when facing the Mariners, it's really actually kind of a big deal, especially with sort of how they manage their lineup. But I mean, it's not like they can take Cano or Seager out of there. It's just an unfortunate matchup for them. And if Price has it going, this is a tough matchup for the Mariners. Obviously, Price has that blow-up factor, but I'm actually pretty confident in this matchup. I mean, Nelson Cruz always sitting there, but beyond him, that's kind of a tough matchup for the Mariners.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and you're looking at pricing back-to-back games here, where he's gone 8 innings combined for 18 strikeouts. He's lost both games against Baltimore and San Francisco. Um,
Hmm.
I think he's an intriguing GPP option. I mean, he does have potential to be, if not the highest scoring starting pitcher on the slate.
Yeah, if I had to guess ownership, I'd say it'd be 15-20% in tournaments. So with that line of thinking and that logic going forward, I think we're still more comfortable with DeGrom, even in tournaments. But yeah, definitely a nice tournament swerve if you're looking to make multiple lineups and sort of swerve.
Yeah, definitely. And coming down the list, I mean, Carlos Carrasco at 8,700, something I like quite a bit. He's kind of my preferred SP2 on the slate at that price. You look at him, and he's been kind of banged up this season. He's been dealing with some issues, but when this guy's healthy, I mean, he's one of the better right-handed pitchers in baseball.
Yeah.
And at that price, I mean, it's really nice, and he's got a lineup facing off against the White Sox. That's really not that great. I mean, they're ranked 24th in WOBA against righties, so looking at Carrasco, I mean, safe cash game option for me, decent favorite there at home, a less than stellar offense on the side there. So for me, I mean, strong cash game guy, strong GPP guy, just one of those SP2s to kind of look at, I think.
Yeah,
Nothing flashy, nothing flashy.
Hey, sometimes you don't need the bling and the wife beater and the gold chain with the Jesus piece. Sometimes you just got to go out there with no tattoos and just rock it. No, you got to like Carrasco at that price for sure, 8,700. I mean, that's a huge deal. It hasn't been too comfy in terms of trying to fit him in the lineups with his most recent pricings because they've all been over 10K and sometimes even over 11. But at this price, yeah, sign me up. Even if he's not fully healthy, I mean, this is a worthy gamble in my opinion, and kind of takes out this whole area here. You weren't really looking at Tillman anyway because he was facing Toronto, but this really takes him in. I'm not even in on Finnegan at that point because of Carrasco, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, a lot of those guys like Zimmerman, tougher matchup against the Royals, Odorizzi against the Giants. We kind of get to a tier now here where you're dropping down low, and I think kind of the one guy that I'm intrigued with is Nathan Eovaldi at 5,800. Once again, I mean, this is strictly GPP only. I mean, he's coming off of 3 starts really, where he hasn't gotten above 70K points. So relatively, it's a much deserved price tag. But you're looking at a right-handed lineup here that's pretty heavy for the Twins, and Eovaldi pretty tough on righties. So I think looking at this matchup, I mean, he's a pretty decent favorite. And at that price, I mean, he does have 20-plus point upside. And I think overall you can look at him as a cheap GPP option.
That's a great price for him, honestly. I mean, him and Stroman are kind of chilling down there as sort of the bargain basement punt tournament plays, but even Stroman, you really get worried about that Baltimore lineup. So Eovaldi faces a relatively sort of mediocre offense, and I actually really like that play. You know what, Jason? That's a really good call, my man. I like that. I like that quite. Spike likes that quite a bit.
Spike, yeah. Spike's really a generous fellow.
I would go into character and say Spike would speak in the third person, but I don't think Spike has the IQ to speak in the third person. I don't think he even understands that dynamic. You know what I mean?
Spike Clay is the kid, the out of town student that got cut from Saved by the Bell. He never quite made the show.
Totally plays beach volleyball though, and he's awful. He's awful at it, but he loves playing. He just goes there, brings his sandwich in the morning, and it gets sand on it by lunchtime. So he's always got a miserable lunch. It's like egg salad, and there's just pieces of sand and like seashells everywhere, and yep.
This is not one of those times for those transition pieces into catcher. And
no, it's not.
No, it definitely is.
Okay.
Looking at catcher here, you do have some kind of top price guys up there. Depending on who's catching for Arizona, I mean, obviously, you look at this Arizona offense, I mean, pretty favorable spot here. It's a little expensive behind the dish. I think you can kind of sneak lower with some other guys.
Yeah, I'm not bothering with that. I'm just gonna go with the rest of their sort of core there. Obviously, you like Wellington Castillo, but usually he bats fifth. If it's Herman, he'll probably bat fifth as well. But I'll just go 1 through 4 there and sort of go with what I consider the real core of that lineup with Segura and all that. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, me too. I like Posey at 4,400 against Odorizzi and GPPs. Odorizzi, I mean, can be a little bit prone at times to giving up the long ball. I mean, obviously Tropicana is one of the better pitchers' parks, but 4,400, I mean, fly ball pitcher, I'll take my shot against Posey in tournaments.
Definitely. I like that call more as a tournament. I normally don't feel comfortable paying up that much in cash, but we'll see. I guess it depends on, I mean, with Carrasco, that really gives you a lot of options. So I won't say that quite yet. But yeah, I mean, usually in terms of tournaments, you're not looking to pay up that much a catcher or in cash.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I think I'd kind of rather spin down too cheap. I mean, Evan Gaddis, I mean, he is a little bit boomer bust, but I really can't argue with that price tag for him. A 3K against lefty who is home run prone at home. Even though he is like got that over 4 potential, I still think at that price tag you're getting a lot of upside for pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So, one of your guys that you've been kind of on during the prior months, and that's Russell Martin. He is really heated up this month. Really heated up this month.
Let's not give myself any credit here because I was on him when it was not fun times, when his 10-game splits were like 0 for 4, 1 for 3 with a single, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. You know, those. That was when I was on him, so that was fun. But yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, now he's turned things around. I mean, nearly 400 WOBA this month, 188 ISO. Tillman's still a guy who really, to me, I'm still picking on this Toronto offense, and I'm firing them up on today's slate, even as good as Tillman's been in that ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Is that a yes? Are you on the Toronto bats today?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Any other catchers you're looking at?
I like Sandy Leon's name. I think that's a quality name. It doesn't match. That sounds like a woman that would work in an office. But anyway.
Like Paige Sandy for me?
Yeah, exactly. But no, beyond that, I mean, depending on who starts at catcher for Boston, I might be in on them. But Yan Gomes, 2,600, I might be in on that as well.
Yeah, facing the lefty Rodon, and Rodon up and down at times, but overall since his career starts, 355 WOBA to righties. So Gomes has been a solid ISO guy against lefties in the past. I mean, definitely kind of that boomer bust type play.
Right.
Looking at first base here, and is there any denying Edwin Encarnacion at this point?
He's pretty solid. He's pretty good at baseball, I think.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
He's not bad. Again, this has been quite a wild stretch here. Might be the most intimidating stretch of any hitter so far this year, other than maybe like Mookie Betts for that little stretch there. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely getting it going there. So 5,300, I don't think you can really overpay for him right now.
No, I don't think so either. And you're kind of looking, I mean, you know, we talked about Carrasco. I mean, no one over 12K on this slate, so it's nice. I mean, you're not really, you know, strapped for cash. And looking at Encarnacion, he's another one. He has a 500 ISO this month, which is just insane. And you look at Tillman, I mean, overall, he's been quality this season, but I still think I'm just riding these Toronto bats, especially those big names.
Yeah, this is like when the Red Sox started going off. You just avoid them with all pitching, regardless of what's going on here.
Yeah. I mean, one guy I do like is Victor Martinez, kind of spinning down a little bit. You're looking at lefties against Chris Young, and the Tigers don't really have a ton, and V-Mart's the one that stands out to me. Young, I mean, has always been home run prone. I mean, 6.05 home runs per 9 to lefties this year. Obviously a little bit, you know, inflated because the numbers have been shortened because of the innings pitched, but it's still just shown how bad he is against lefties.
He just gives up home runs. That's like what he does. He's been doing it for so long, and somehow he just stays in the league. Probably because he's super tall. But other than that, yeah, I like that call. Obviously, you're not playing Freddie Freeman, even in the lefty-righty. We already talked about that. But Joey Votto against Mike Fiers, I'm not against that at 4,300. I think that's a decent play.
Yeah, I like him quite a bit. I think he's kind of one of my preferred GPP options. I mean, nice ballpark there in Minute Maid. Votto's starting to come around of late, so you got to like that. And Fiers really hasn't been untouchable this season, so I think you can get some Reds exposure in GPPs today.
Mm-hmm.
Indians bats. I mean, do you like Mike Napoli and Carlos Santana? I mean, are you kind of looking at those guys? Probably preferably Napoli.
Yeah. I'd rather Votto.
Yeah. Anyone down low you looking at?
I like Matt Adams. He's quite the fella.
Has he been kind? Has he been kind to Spike Clay?
Yes, indeed. Well, kind of. It depends on the night, but I'd say most slates he's pretty kind. That whole Cardinals lineup is pretty kind in good matchups.
Yeah, they are. And facing Martin Perez, I mean, I like a couple of bats in the outfield that I'll be definitely looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at second base here, and once again, Jose Altuve against a lefty is in play. I mean, it didn't really pan out the other night, but I still think you kind of head back to the well there. We know what he can do against lefties, and I'm kind of on board. The only way I kind of see myself paying for a Kinsler or a Segura, I don't mind Segura, but I think they're kind of more involved in the stacks more so than one-offs.
Right, as I mentioned, I'm not paying up for catchers because you kind of have to pay up for Segura here if you're doing Diamondbacks, and then you got to pay up for Goldschmidt as well. So it's like getting super expensive pretty quick there. So I do like that stack, but you're really looking at 1 through 4 there. And if you are, Segura. But beyond that, I agree. They're not really one-offs or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you can kind of steep lower. I mean, I like a Dustin Pedroia. I'm looking at Taijuan Walker. I really am looking to pick on him with kind of these right-handed bats for Boston, because you look at Walker, I mean, 383 WOBA allowed on the road this year, 344 to right-handers. Pedroia's hit righties pretty well with 367 WOBA. And it's not a bad price tag, and it's kind of a nice spin-down option from Altuve.
Definitely. Now, you brought up Cleveland bats. Is that because you're intrigued by them or you're fading them?
I'm intrigued with the righties. I mean, a Gomes, a Napoli, a Lindor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kipnis at a decent price, 3,500. I mean, it's somewhat intriguing. I think he kind of only works if you're just actually looking to go with an Indian stack, but I kind of just like them as one-offs.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
So,
and I guess it depends on sort of how you're viewing this, but I'm okay. I'm okay with Profar again. And Zimmerman, I'm not necessarily targeting Royals, but I think they're at some pretty decent prices, so I'm okay with Whit Merrifield as well.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, Zimmerman hasn't really been that great of late. I mean, he's never been a guy to really blow anything by you. And as you mentioned, Profar, I like those lefties from Texas against Leak. They're definitely intriguing. So him and Odor kind of step into play for me. Going any lower, I mean, I like Brandon Phillips. I think he's kind of an intriguing GPP option along with the rest of those Reds team. I mean, Fiers has been hit hard by righties. So overall, I kind of like him, hitting in the cleanup in that role.
Yeah, and I mean, if Danny Worth's in there again, he's min-priced again. So something to be aware of for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He's a guy to just kind of check that lineup for.
Mm-hmm.
Third base here, and for me, I mean, it's kind of an easy call if you're going over 5K for Josh Donaldson.
Yeah.
He's been red hot along with Encarnacion as well. I mean, 7 extra base hits in the last 10 games, 4 homers. They're pricey, but you know what? You can kind of get them in as far as one-offs go.
This is what we were looking for early in the year. It's pretty incredible right now, honestly. It's literally those two guys every night. It's not like the Red Sox. It was kind of like they came at you with everyone. Obviously, Ortiz was dominant, but it's crazy right now what those two are doing. So yeah, obviously throw Donaldson in there. Not really in on Prado at his price. I think that's a little too expensive. Jake Lamb, that's expensive for him as well. I don't know if I could do that either. So yeah, Donaldson clear choice above 5K.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, I mean, Prado and Lamb, not worthy of those price tags, even though they're in good spots. When you're getting
Mhm.
300 less than Donaldson, I'll just roll with Donaldson. I mean, it's just kind of that easy call.
Right.
I mean, going cheaper, I still like Nolan Arenado at 4,500 against Tom Kohler. I still like
Mhm.
Arenado in good spots on the road because his price drops. I mean, it's a good matchup. I mean, yes, it's not cores, but I still think he's very playable in GPPs.
Right. Yeah, no, I do like Arenado. Again, like you mentioned, it doesn't really matter where he is individually. It's just in Coors, obviously things are inflated, but he's a good hitter in his own right. So Tom Kohler, kind of been struggling of late. I like that call quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, at a decent price. And uh, these Tigers right-handed batsmen, there's a ton of home run upside, so I can see a guy like Nick Castellanos being in play as
Mhm.
far as GPPs go. And you talked about Profar and this St. Louis lineup. Peralta at 3,900 is a decent price tag for him.
If Drury's in the lineup, he usually bats pretty high. So if he's batting third or second or something like that, definitely throw him in. Obviously he's not going to be batting third, but you know what I mean. Second or fifth or sixth, that might be a good alternative that'll save you some in a stack. So that might be a guy to look out for.
Yeah, definitely. And Michael Franco, 3,200. Guy who
Mm,
a little too cheap for me to kind of pass up. I mean, you look at Bradley. I mean, 353 WOBA allowed to righties in his career. You look at Franco. I mean, he's handled righties a little bit better than lefties, and that's just too cheap for me to pass up. I mean, I think he's definitely worthy of some shares there.
Hey, that's fair. I like where he's sitting in the lineup, and he's kind of been one of the few bright spots in that Phillies lineup this year. So, yeah, I definitely like him. I'd give him a shot for sure.
Yeah. Looking at
Um,
shortstop, are you looking at anywhere else in third base? Are you looking at third base?
yeah, I was just gonna talk about Matt Duffy and my non-love affair, but he worked out the other day situation. So
You like Matt Duffy here against Odorizzi?
no, no, I don't. I was
Oh
just
yeah,
gonna do it. I was gonna do a hashtag humble brag for a second, but I decided against it, and we were going to shortstop. So
yeah. Okay,
yes,
fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah, yeah,
Shortstop here, and once again, you got Carlos Correa facing a home run prone lefty, and at 4,100, he takes a lot of guys out of play for me once again, which is kind of a
yeah.
bummer. But I do like him as well. Once again, one of the top shortstops.
It's a bummer in some senses, but in terms of hedging, you might not necessarily need to do that quite as much. And in terms of tournaments, he's a guy that you can just throw into your core, sort of make your lineups around him, and just lock him in. That's kind of it's nice sometimes when you have those guys. Sometimes they're more cheaper, and you kind of lock in the min guys or some guy that just got a spot start in a good spot. But in terms of this, I mean, that's just a great spot that you build your core around, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and with that being said, I mean, kind of paying up for a Machado against a Stroman. I don't mind Bogarts in a Red Sox stack. I just feel like I don't need to go any higher because you
Yeah,
have him right there.
right. Exactly. Hey, and our boy Nick Ahmed hit a homer today.
Ooh, man.
Yeah.
We
He
didn't hit,
got I didn't see it, but I'd imagine it went about 550 feet.
probably. I mean, that's Western Mass strength right there. So the rest of shortstop, you have guys like Brad Miller, Brandon Crawford,
yeah.
Zach Kozar, guys who are in favorable matchups. Troy Tulowitzki, 3,300. They're still so close. Correa just puts a big bubble around him in that spot. It's just like, I might as well just go up. I mean, it's tough to kind of pay down. I mean, unless you get someone who's
Right.
super cheap, who's, hitting up top. Um, for me, it just seems to be I'm going to continue to plug away Correa there.
Those reds are always kind of swirling around in my brain, but I might have to flush them down the toilet today. But I'm not. I don't know. I haven't quite made up my mind. But yeah, I do like Cozart a little bit, but obviously Correa kind of for 600 more. I just want to do Correa. You know.
Yeah, and if I need a 600, I think Cozart is a fine spin down option. He's kind of my preferred play there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, looking up top, I just think once again, it's only if you're stacking those teams that they kind of find your way into the lineup there.
Yeah. and Boston's kind of being weird of late, so I don't really know what to think about them right now. Especially not like Walker is not great, but he's also not horrible either. So it's kind of tough to stack Boston against him right now.
Yeah. Looking at the outfield here, you get some guys in good spots. I mean, Boston-wise, you're probably not on them as much as I am. I'm on them maybe a little bit more. I can definitely see the hesitation from people on using them because, while Walker is a respectable right-hander, but he's been bad on the road, and I kind of like Mookie Betts here at 5K. I don't see myself really spinning up really past 4,500 on this slate. There's a lot of mid-price outfielders that I like a lot more, but if I am paying up, it's probably going to be for Betts.
That's fair. And can we notice something right now at who's 5K on this slate in the outfield for the Miami Marlins?
Oh my God!
The
They heard
there.
you. Oh my God!
Oh.
Ichiro Suzuki, you got your wish. Who may or may not be in the lineup today.
Oh my God, 5K. I mean, he is betting 350. But either way, I mean, he has been crushing
4.7 points per game.
Well, they count the spot start, the pinch hits and all that, which he does a lot. So he is 57 years old. Come on, man. He's going on. He's getting Social Security soon here. No, he's not in play for me, obviously, at 5K. That's just insane. You kind of want at least a little home run power at 5K, or someone who's I don't know.
Hell, man, I want a lot.
Jeez, yeah, no kidding. So yeah, I think Tomas in a Diamondback stack, I'm okay with. Saunders, if you want to do the sort of 2 through 5 in that Blue Jays lineup, sure. Depending on what Batista's doing. But yeah, beyond that, and then I mean, again, Duvall's sitting right there as sort of those Reds contrarian stack, contrarian play type of way, but not really my first option.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of where I start to skip down. I mean, Stephen Piscotty at 42 and George Springer at 42. Both those guys are usually guys that are in those matchups are priced up to that 4,800, 4,700 range, and they're not today. So I'm looking at them as kind of really 2 tier 1 options that you're getting at a pretty discounted price tag, and both are really good against left-handed pitching. And Piscotty and Springer both have kind of that huge upside and safe floors that you want.
Yeah, Springer's a good call, and he's a really nice combo with Correa. That obviously. But yeah, no, I definitely like those calls. Mr. Stanton, he's back up there. He got 2 hits yesterday. I'm proud of him. I'm still watching from afar, but let's keep it rolling, Giancarlo. And maybe he gets a homer tonight, and I might be back in. That's just how quick it is, guys. You just rip the Band-Aid off. I just need a homer from him, and I'll be back in.
You sleazeball.
I know, but if for now you still avoid him. But so yeah, that's the Giancarlo watch for today. I don't know how to feel about the Orioles either. They're not obviously in cash consideration or anything like a Toronto stack right now, but I always get a little intrigued by Jones, who's started to hit the ball really well, and then obviously Trumbo sitting down there, who's having arguably the best year of his career.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of those things, I think the RGPP plays at this point. Outside of Machado's been the most consistent. You've had Trumbo showing off the big power. And Jones is starting to come around. He's been streaky this season. That's where it is for me. I mean, they either go completely missing or it's completely off the roof and they're out of control,
Exactly. And that's definitely that's where they've been at the whole year. So I'm okay with it. I think it could work out for you, but not a first option or even really a second option.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And kind of going a little bit lower, Odubel Herrera, 3,900. I like him quite a bit. Against Bradley there. Herrera, 385 Woboff righties this season. Bradley's been your average right-hander, 329 to lefties. So he's a guy who just kind of continuously gets it done for the Phillies, gets kind of overlooked, and I like that price tag for him.
Yeah, and then your boy, Jose Ramirez. I really throw that out a lot. I got to stop doing that. Sometimes you just say things too much, and
My
that's
boy.
my thing. Yeah, like I got to
Because he's
stop.
never been my boy.
He's not your boy whatsoever. Not even slightly your boy. Jose Ramirez, 3,600 against Rodon. So that's pretty cheap for an outfielder there on this slate.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you were talking about some of the Royals bets. I mean, Lorenzo Cain at 34 against them,
Yeah.
and then is he an intriguing GPP option for you?
Yeah, GPP. GPP only, but if you're looking for some cheap guys, obviously Kane's a pretty talented hitter and he has pretty decent splits, but not a perfect matchup by any means.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, some of those Texas bats, I mean, Nomar Mazara, 3,100, Shin-Soo Choo, 3,300. Those are some nice value outfielders against a Mike Leake who's been very mediocre against left-handed bats in his career.
Definitely. And Ezekiel Correa, depending on where he is.
I'm jacked up because you know what? I was going to head right to him,
Yeah,
close out the show with a little Ezekiel.
3,200. I mean, depending on where he is in the order, he's been hitting high too in the order. So I think you can definitely throw that one in there. He's been doing awesome of late, and he's kind of just riding that train because the pitchers kind of know what's going down behind him in the order. So yeah, he's been riding that train and getting a lot of runs. So I'd definitely be down to throw him in there.
Yep, no, I'm definitely with you. He's one of my favorite value plays in this slate, and Camden Park friendly for lefty power. He hit a homer, on Saturday, so nice move for him there. And with Bautista banged up, he'll be in there for at least the next couple games or so.
Right.
So that's going to wrap things up with the DraftKings Daily Trot. Be sure to check out dailyfantasycafe.com for all our great tools and content.